Our show today is brought to you by Professional Tree Care, and if you still have some limbs down or some hanging branches, give them a call. Your neighbors would like you to take care of that right away, and they've done that at my house, so thank you to the team at PTC.
A lot of limbs, a lot of trees, branches still down, so give them a call. On Saturday, we hope to see you at Potter Center in the Snyder Dining Commons for the Jackson Blazer News 60th anniversary celebration and entertainment provided by Babby Mason and Larry Sumner Jr. And Larry will be with us a little later on today's show. Get your tickets at the Potter Center box office, 796-8600. Should be a great night. Look forward to seeing you there.
We'd like to now welcome from the PIIC Center, infectious disease specialist, Dr. Vivek. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning.
I see you've stolen my bracket, so I'm going to get a little. I got to ask you because I haven't filled it out, as you can see. Give me a secret winner there. Who do you like in the Colgate Texas game?
Colgate. I mean, always go for the underdog.
Oh, okay, all right. You hear that, Brandon?
I hear that.
There's some folks that have Texas in the Final Four that are probably going to need to get a new bracket. So Colgate it is. I like it. I love a good upset.
Yeah.
Now your school, we were just talking about Southern Illinois. They were a tournament team in the 90s quite a bit, but we haven't seen them lately.
That's probably because I wasn't playing for them right now.
Yeah, the odds of getting all your brackets correct, you could win the Powerball twice before you get all of those right.
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Well, it was fun to watch it either way.
Well, the state continues to track COVID, and yesterday they said we've got nearly 5,000 weekly cases. Deaths have fallen. There are 55 deaths, but that included previous months catching up. But there's still 770 people in the hospital in the state of Michigan with COVID.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's still going around. The numbers have gotten down quite a bit, but the state numbers are, I think, underrepresented because a lot of patients these days are doing rapid tests at home and getting better in a couple of days. So we aren't seeing the whole numbers. But definitely hospitalizations are way down. And the only people, at least from my experience, who are getting really sick are the ones who are underlying immunocompromised. So patients who've had chemotherapy for cancers, HIV. So we are seeing the fag end of the epidemic in normal individuals, but the patients who have immune issues will continue to see them throughout the year.
Is people continue to have all different types of symptoms, but are they continuing to mild out into more so the cold symptom as we continue on?
So typically, I think the ones who haven't had it before, because by now we've had people who had it 3 times, 4 times, but the ones who haven't had it before, fevers, chills for the first 24, 48 hours, and they gradually get better fairly quickly. Now, there's obviously the long COVID, which is a completely different picture. There's significant individuals who have long COVID symptoms, up to 20 to 30% of them, but fatigue. But most of the time, I think you get sick, fevers, and get better.
I talked to one of the people that got COVID in the early days here in Jackson, and he was in the hospital, and he almost died, but he's still experiencing some remnants of COVID here 3 years later.
Yeah.
So is that long COVID?
Yeah, that's definitely long COVID. I mean, I think we have quite a few individuals, especially from the first part of the pandemic, who have fatigue, shortness of breath, kind of can't sleep well, everything aches and hurts.
How many COVID tests have you had?
When?
Over the time.
I don't know.
Countless,
it's too hard because
countless.
when we had first started, when they first became available, we were in the middle of sports, so it was like nonstop.
Yeah. So since a lot of people, the numbers aren't reflected in the state or even county reports because people aren't reporting, should we still, if we suspect we have COVID, should we still get tested?
Definitely, especially kind of if you're going out to an area where there's going to be other individuals around you. So at least get yourself tested to be sure that you're not going to spread it around. Now, if you are going to a concert and you're perfectly fine, I mean, the only people I think who still need to be very careful from my perspective are individuals who have been on cancer chemotherapy or whose immune system is weak.
Right.
They should be the ones who should be proactively trying to ensure that they don't get in contact with anybody who has COVID.
Yeah, and you should be sensitive that the person you're talking to might have one of those conditions that makes them immunocompromised.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can't catch allergies from someone, because the amount of people I've seen with these early spring allergies has been crazy. Is that just kind of ebbs and flow? You just different seasons,
Different seasons, kind of. But this spring, there were a lot more other respiratory viruses. There was something called metapneumovirus, quite a bit. There was RSV, flu, COVID. So I think it was just kind of like a smorgasbord of viruses that you could pick and choose which one you wanted to get infected by.
Yeah, and that's what it felt like. It was fun, right? Bart had the long RSV, I believe.
Yeah, I had long RSV. I still have it.
Yeah.
It's
It affects your temperament.
well, if you don't feel well, you're not happy.
That's exactly right.
Remember you when you're not feeling well?
I'm angry.
Everyone knows it.
Yeah, right.
So, 3 years ago we were saying, 2 weeks, we'll be through it once the weather warms up. So, did we learn anything over the last 3 years where that can predict what it's going to be like this spring in terms of respiratory disease, colds, flu, COVID?
I mean, we learned a couple of things. I think the fact is that if you're in close proximity to a lot of individuals, that's where infections tend to spread. So the next pandemic, whichever it's going to be, is again going to be a respiratory virus, because that's the most effective way for the viruses to spread. The other thing I think, from my perspective, what we learned is that we have technology to build a vaccine fairly quickly these days. It's not going to be the best vaccine possible, but in the short term, you'll be able to get a vaccine fairly quickly after whatever next pandemic is. That will at least decrease the amount of people who die from the infection.
RSV is one, it's a virus, so there potentially could be a vaccine.
Yeah.
Is there work on that?
Yeah, definitely. I think we are going to be having a lot of vaccines for a lot of these viruses. The next step is getting people to get the vaccine. I think we've seen a downtrend in childhood vaccinations across the board. So you had measles outbreak, I forget whether it was at a concert or Disney in the last couple of months. So we have to convince people about the safety of the vaccines and get them to somehow remember in the 40s, 50s when there wasn't a polio vaccine. I think people forget how many lives have been saved by vaccines, and we tend to kind of underestimate the safety of vaccines.
Yeah, it's interesting. The more data and the more knowledge we have, it seems like you'll like this. The more stupider we are.
Well, it became so political.
I think it did. So yeah, of course.
Will it take somebody getting polio? Are we going to see a resurgence of some of these things that we've been vaccinated against over these years that we thought went away?
Oh, definitely. I think we're going to see uptick. I mean, we are seeing upticks in measles. We are seeing upticks in mumps, especially younger college-going kids. And I forget when, but within the last 6 months, they saw the polio virus in the sewers of New York. So there is going to be sporadic cases of polio.
Yeah, and there's are people alive today who actually had polio when they were kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, who's Mitch McConnell?
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, he just fell. Right. Yeah, I did not know that he had polio until it was in the news about that he fell. So
and there's still there's not a cure for it.
No.
All right. So did you get your rackets?
Well,
who do you like?
I might text you later. Who do you like to win? Did you tell me who you like to win the whole thing already?
Well, unlike what you guys were saying, I would like Purdue. I still like kind of at least somebody from the same conference winning it.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about that. The Big Ten hasn't won since the year 2000, which is amazing, right? All these good teams we've had. So we shall see. We shall see. Purdue's getting mixed reviews around the office.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would still like somebody. The other one would be obviously Illinois, but Illinois always deceives.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Fool's gold, always.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here today, and thanks actually really for you and Dr. Donna for all of your support of the morning show since the very beginning. We appreciate all of your knowledge and expertise and your time as we've shared news about keeping our community safe during these last 3 years.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
I'll be shoveling snow, I think.
Every weekend.
Yeah, Dr. Vivek from the PIIC Center. More of the morning show right after this.